So here it is, 5:25 in the afternoon on Sunday. I am just starting my videos, and you might say, why, Anthony? How are you going to get them all done? I don't know. I'm working through it. It's July 4th here, so big celebrations on tonight everywhere in the U.S. We're not really doing anything. Not because we're not Americans, just because we're not, I guess. I had a drive tonight at Northfield. I don't know if I'll be able to go or not. 13th race, and I'm just now getting back to myself. Saturday, all day yesterday, I threw up all day. Now, earlier last week, Amy had what we thought was a little food poisoning or something. She threw up for the afternoon and then was fine. It was the weirdest thing. I literally got home after the races from Scioto. I was a little down in the dumps and woke up in the middle of the night throwing up. I threw up for most of the day and felt like crap for the whole day. Started to come around later in the day. Now, I'll tell you how bad it was. I know, I weighed myself today 183 pounds. Right around 6 pounds I lost from Friday to today. So you do the math. And I didn't eat a whole lot, obviously, since then. This would be my first kind of meal since Saturday morning. So, odd. I feel 105% now. I feel great. Slept a lot. And right back at it. Now, I did go to the races and race Stonebridge Simba last night. I didn't want to let anybody down. And I was really on the fence. The shape I was in, was I actually a detriment to the horse? I just didn't want to throw somebody up on the horse, have them bounce him off the gate, behind the gate, and make a break. That would have really frustrated me. Then I really would have been sick on top of being actually sick. So I muscled through it, went and drove the colt. The horse, he raced good, finished third. I thought he should have been second, but 54 is 54, and the horse raced good. So good for Simba. I want to talk about, after Friday, I'm like you. I'm a human being. I have expectations, and when they don't get met, you get a little down in the dumps, and you have to collect your thoughts and take a look at what is in front of you, what just took place, what is going to take place the rest of the summer. I just had a pretty constructive conversation this afternoon with a couple of clients. One of them was talking about the group I obviously want to form for Ohio sale. Ohio has been our stomping ground, right? Ontario is such a volatile place to race in the sense that you don't know how fast they're going to go. The fillies looked okay in the Golds the other night, but then you look down here in Ohio, and they went 51-2. First lifetime start for a pacing filly in the next generation. Ron Burke's filly, not shockingly, 151-2 and looked like a machine last night. Now you look at the fillies in Ontario, they don't look super strong. The Colts do. Everything. But as I said to John when I was talking to him just a little while ago, I said, I don't know how much the pandemic played a role in Ontario because we didn't get to go to Mohawk till later on and really clamp down on these horses. Plus the mentality of people in Ontario, you're beat down a little bit. You can't go out anywhere. You're training the horses, but you don't know if the stake schedule is going to be backed up. Nobody really knows when we're going to get back to the track. What kind of a role did that play? A lot of these horses, especially this filly Ron Burks, got to train down in Florida likely, then go to New Jersey or back to his camp at the Meadows. We don't really know how that'll play out. So it'll be interesting to watch Ontario over the next month to see if that levels out, right? We were talking about the horses we had. I said we have no Ohio pacing fillies. Our Ontario fillies were watered down. I mean, obviously it goes without saying, looking back on it, especially with fondness, at least the way she trained down, it looked like Miss Mildred was going to be our best Ontario sired filly. And now she'll never race. So that plays into what we're going to talk about in just a minute. So part of the reason I took my time, other than being a little sick and having another nap today, I wanted to see Tipsy and Dixie race. I wanted to do this video optimistically. It's not that listen, if you'd have said, hey Anthony, we get two in the next generation going for 150 and we got a filly in the Pennsylvania sires, they're both low, all three of them are low odds, we're going to give you a fourth and fifth. It's not great, but at the same time they all raced well, they did as good as they could, and we picked up some money. So it's not the end of the world. Just with the expectations that I had going in were really high. The pressure I put on myself, the stress that I felt that I was under was extraordinarily high. Now it's just the way it was. The only horse I think I drove bad all weekend was Spirited Dio, and I don't think I drove her bad. I know I drove her bad. again, going back to yesterday's videos, if you want to know what I'm talking about, go back and look at the video from that I actually made on Saturday on my way home from Stonebridge Simba, still weak and sick. You can take a look at the video there, and I go through pretty much what I believe the weekend looked like through my eyes. Now, obviously, Tipsy and Dixie was a easy winner in Clinton. Man, everything was on the run and all over the track, and Tipsy raced good. And it just goes back, that got me thinking too, optimistically, about how our horses behave. Horse ran in front of Tom, run up right on top of him, didn't make a break. Voyage, Vice, and Fire didn't make a break. Our horses tie one on. These horses continue to do their work best they can, and things are going to work out. And then you extrapolate that and look through to this week. Now, Grace picked a win going for 102,000, a virtual throwaway, and not to make fun of the filly, but virtually dropped off in our burn to train down, and we'll see what happens type mentality, and she turns out to be what very likely is a gold filly. Then we have two fillies sitting in the burn with allergies that we're trying to figure out a way forward for, that are gold fillies, I believe also, Mischievous Rose and Arches Rainbow. Those two fillies will race in the grassroots. I think if we can muddle through and keep them healthy and safe throughout the month of July, I think you'll see them enter the Gold Series later on in the summer, but it'll take a little bit of time. So we potentially could have 3 gold fillies. I think we have 1 for sure right now, and 2 more that could be on the way. On the colt side, I mean, Renegade Gypsy just looks like a monster out there. I don't want to lose track of what I'm trying to do here. Definitely Renegade Gypsy looks like a nice colt. Resolute Bay, probably grassroots type, but man, oh man, he looked really, really good. I couldn't believe how professional. There's a horse that did make mistakes training down, right? We've seen him make breaks. I didn't know how long it would take him to mentally mature, but I was so impressed, 1, with the way James drove him, but 2, with the way he behaved, busting out of the gate, sitting in the 2-hole, and get beat fair and square by an aged horse. Then you look forward to this week. We get Grace, as I said, Bomb Hugger, Saratoga on Tuesday. I couldn't be more impressed with the way this filly behaves. I schooled her on Thursday. She's coming in sharp. They said she was a little bit in heat when she get down to Saratoga, but it's not the end of the world. She is coming in sharp and very, very, very strong. I'm very impressed with this filly. My only concern is how's she shipping. It's an 8-hour ship to Saratoga. She left here Friday afternoon for Saratoga. Would have got there early in the morning on Saturday. I assume Mark Beckwith has her for us down there. Just maybe an easy day Sunday, jogging on Monday, and then off to the races on Tuesday. Really excited to race this filly, especially after the way she trained. Then we look at the Buckeyes coming up. Isa 10 coming off our break. We did change her shoes again. I believe I saw her jog today, and we trained her up tight. I believe she could do good. But my horse to watch for the entire week now, not our best filly just yet. And I think she is a trajectory to get there. Not our best filly just yet, but one that I'm keeping my eye on, especially after the way she trained, was Sweet on Pete. We'll talk about her later on also. And then the impressive performance also, a massive profit in Indiana the other night. Irv Miller is a man of very few words. Very nice man, very grounded, very dry. If you've ever met him, you know what I'm talking about. You won't get any long text from Irv Miller. About 20 minutes after the race, all I got was a text, "Nice colt!" ! That is it. Full stop. That is it. So Irv, obviously he was coming off, he's down in the dumps as he was a fairly large owner, stake owner in Spent, who got injured, hurt his left hind leg, and is up for sale right now. He's going to miss the rest of his 2-year-old season, and it said that he's on gate, and it's told right there in black and white that he'll miss the rest of the season. I've already had a number of people ask me, how bad is it? And, strangers saying, hey, how bad did he get hurt? And I told them, quite frankly, he's got a 28% hole in his left hind suspensory. It'll heal. It's half as bad as one Johan had, but at the same time, in my experience, I don't have a very high track record for rehabbing hind suspensories on trotters. Not many people do. Maybe there's somebody out there that doesn't mind. The biggest thing with them is time, and then how the horse reacts coming back. If they're built to re-injure, they likely will. Now, he isn't. This is a horse that has never had any issues in his life, and just one of those things. We've had that. Miss Mildred never hurt herself, ended up hitting herself in the race, ending her career before it ever gets started. Will to Win Hanover, who who we had said, you look at Massive Profit. I had a pretty good beat on him way back in March and April when we did those Who's Your Best Horse. The only one in the entire barn that picked Massive Profit was me. Looks great. My number one pick of the whole year, obviously, was Will to Win Hanover. She had a little line in her foot. These things happen in racing. And it's a cliche, and it sucks if you own them and you're my partners on a couple of these horses, but this is what we're all going to go through. Some are going to jump up, and where did that horse come from? Like Slim Jimmy? Where did that come from? Right? You never know. Procrastinator, he might have get beaten his first start, but that doesn't mean the horse is a bad horse. It's a good horse. Where are these miles coming from him? We'll talk about those in a minute, but, I usually get over things quickly. Friday, maybe coupled with the sickness I had, it took me a couple of days to get over it, but looking at our horses, keep in mind, we started with, 46, 47 yearlings? I got 31 on this list that are legit nice horses. And the ones I left off the list, it isn't that they're bad horses. They just haven't proven that they're sire stake horses yet. We turned out Duke Dio simply because I like the colt. Only have to have him ready for September for that stake race. Don't quote me on that. I'll double check the date. But I think it's September 23rd for Duke Dio in New Jersey at Freehold. This is a colt that's qualified and looked great twice. But physically, just needs to fill out, grow up, mature. You get to do that for the next 2 or 3 weeks out at Schaefer Farms in Pennsylvania. So impressed with some of the globetrotting. The mile she went the other day. I know this is obviously an aged horse, but the mile she was going last week and made a break. I talked to Yannick Gingras closely the other day. A lot of the American guys were at the Meadows. I wanted to talk to Dave Miller. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. And I want to talk to Yannick and get a bead from Yannick. I talked to him via text message, but it's not the same. I'd said to him, he said, very fast mare, just got a little pacey late in the mile. He said, after you and I talked, he said, she never had the hobbles on before this year. She never got on that kind of speed. You could see where she kind of lost herself. He said, but man, she's a powerhouse. So, globetrotting, I believe, will become one of our core horses. I'd said this to Jason. As soon as I got off the bike in the qualifier, I looked at Jason, I said, I think this is the best horse I've ever had in my life, ever. We had Lawmaker, we had a lot of nice horses. We didn't have any world champions, per se. We had horses that made decent money. But I think she might be the best horse I ever had. Looking for Garden State Dio. Where the hell did that qualifier come from? Now, 56-1 is great. That's awesome. Fantastic. I watched the fillies in New Jersey. I don't know if she's mature enough mentally to tangle with them. So I'm going to talk to John, and I sent her to John Boutenchain, and I'm going to tell him, listen, in less than a month, Kentucky starts. That's the other reason I wanted to go to John, because John loves Kentucky. He goes there every year. So I'm going to tell him, don't feel that you have to put her in next Friday. I believe she's good enough to go there, but I don't want to see her get beat up. So beware. Please be aware with this filly. This is a filly that would have had and could have the Kindergarten or the Doherty. But you're talking about the best fillies in the world. The world coming, North America coming here. There's no rush with Garden State Dio. Obviously, we have a talented filly. Let's not try and prove me wrong. How's that? And then Jazzy Judy, I'm interested to see her race Monday in a bounce back. Didn't really seem to be any reason for a poor performance in the second elimination from Jim's standpoint. So we'll see if she bounces back here on Monday in a different field. She's 5-1. Never seen Jazzy Judy, never be the favorite before. So hopefully she'll bounce back really strong in a race this Monday at just watching the kids prance in behind me, wondering what they're doing. This Monday at Harrington. What are you doing, honey? Oh, you're coming? Okay. What else do we got? So we got Grace. Big race tomorrow or Tuesday night. Bomb Hugger, huge race on Tuesday. And I want to go over the races from Scioto also. We also have, Taiwan on raced in the Meadows. Pennsylvania Sires on Friday. It's not that she looked flat. She did everything she could. They're going to go in 56 in the mud in front of her. She's going to look like a beaten horse because she's not ready to go there. So we'll use that as a stepping stone. We'll give her a week off, school her up, race her around the 20th or 22nd, and then she'll have another race in the Arden Stakes in Pennsylvania on the 29th. And then a week later is the second division of the second division of the Pennsylvania Sires. And at that point, after the Arden, we'll know, hey, we're going to go to the Stallion for a little while with this filly, or we're going to try again, give her another kick at the cat with the Sire Stakes. So we'll know that after the 29th. As I said, I'm bouncing around a little bit. As I said, we got Grace Baumhugger. We get the Buckeyes coming up. I said I was very interested in Sweet on Pete. That's not completely accurate. 1-2 skip if you just set a track record at a fair track. Kind of interested to see how she's going to race. Taiwan on, very interested to see how this filly is going to race also. And of course, I'm missing one. 1-2 skip if you. I can't remember the other ones. It'll come to me. We get the Buckeyes this week, and we get the Sire Stakes coming back with Of Tom, Purple Aura, Prairie Fire, who looked great the other night. Second, just got beaten 2 minutes and looked really, really good. He's looking at Sire Stakes competition on Friday. So is Slim Jimmy. First lifetime start in the Sire Stakes next Friday, and Voyage of Ice and Fire is going to get another crack at them. So we'll have 5 horses in the Sire Stakes next Friday, and 5 that belong. So as I said to you, I talked to Yannick Gingras about globetrotting a little bit in Pennsylvania. Wanted to get his real take on her, not his polished take, but his real take. And I was very happy with what I heard. Now, I also talked to Dave Miller, and I know, listen, Dave Miller drove at 3 tracks on Friday. 3 tracks on Friday. Hi, guys. 3 tracks on Friday. I spoke to him. I said, Dave, you're driving a colt for us. Ronnie is training in New Jersey on Friday night, Unbeatable Kemp. Nice colt. It's hard for me to say if he's going to trot 55 or not. I have no idea. I said, but I tell you what he can't do is be on the front end or first over. Now, around the last turn, he moved it. He'll fool you, right? You move him out, and he feels like he's going to come forward, and then he just gets stupid. He did this training on us. If you look back at the videos a couple of times on Amy training, or even me or someone. It's right there. I don't know what you want. Oh, she wants her tablet. Where's her tablet?
The list of demands is increasing.
It's increasing. Mommy's going to go get it. So, Dave raced maybe 25 horses between when I spoke to him and Unbeatable Kemp, and I'm sure the last thing in his mind going out on the track was what Anthony McDonald told him hours before in Pennsylvania. But 2 things you can't do. He got one of them right. He didn't put him on the front, but you can't move him there. You just can't. And he's proven it time and time again, both training. I watched another Wallner. Scotty was telling me about another Wallner that pulled up down the backstretch. They're fast horses, but just sometimes got a mind of their own. And you could see how Unbeatable Kemp was sharp in the 3-year-old. We wore a snake cord on him. I don't know. Maybe Ronnie didn't. I'm not sure. But, you know, speaking to Ron Burke would be similar to speaking to your local state representative. He may get back to you at some point, but it's not going to be right away. So, and the man's busy. He's got like 300 horses. It's not much he can do. So it's not like he can say, hey, what did Dave say about the colt? Who are you again? So, it just is what it is. But as soon as I said to myself, please don't move him, please don't move him, please don't move him. And out he comes with him. Ollie. I might have had some choice words under my breath, but I certainly didn't get any messages saying, hey, pick your horse up, he's not good enough, or hey, I'm going to ship him back to you. I think he's going to race him in the second elimination. I think they're maybe going to make some changes they're going to make some changes that make Ronnie and Dave a little more comfortable with the colt, and there's nothing wrong with that. So a little bit of a clunker from him, but I think it had more to do with the trip than anything. And circling back to our expectations of the horses, just for your own amusement, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, that in Unbeatable Kemp's race the other night, there were 3 6-figure horses. One was 200, one was 160, one was 140, I believe, and a lot of other ones. Not that matters, but I believe looking at these numbers sometimes helps me put things in perspective. You know, when you look at horses like Voyage of Ice and Fire or Of Tom, these are horses that we had bought for well under $20,000 that we're expecting to beat up on horses that are a lot more expensive. And it's not that it means nothing now. Now that they're at, well, it shouldn't be. Can you go put it somewhere then? I don't know what that is. Must be rained on or something. It's weird. But it helps put in perspective that other people have high hopes for their horses too, and we have to race against those other horses. So just keep that in mind, because I know, like me, a lot of people can get down and say, geez, I think I don't know why a horse like Voyage of Ice and Fire couldn't win, or I don't know why Of Tom couldn't get up. You have to take everything into perspective, and I think overlooking what other people have into their horses sometimes might be a mistake also. So looking down the list, you want to know how I get out of my funk for Friday? How did I get over Friday where I had high expectations coming in? How did I shake those monkeys, so to speak? Well, I'll tell you. As I said, we started with 46 or 47 yearlings this year. We had 3 unfortunate incidents. Will DeWin, Hanover got hurt, Spent, and now Miss Mildred. 3 horses that were top flight horses training down. All 3 of those horses, if you had a top 10 or 20 list in our stable at any point during the year, these horses would have been on it. And these horses now, one is done forever. The other 2 will definitely miss the rest of their season. So, looking at today. Now, I happen to be looking at stakes for horses. So, these horses aren't necessarily in, they're absolutely not in alphabetical order. They're in colt and jurisdiction donation, because I was looking at the staking guide for horses when I said, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to look at the whole list. Take a look at which horses impressed the hell out of me so far this year, and see how many there actually are. Started with 46 or 47. You do the math. Century Invictus, second in his qualifier the other day, pace what, 55 and 1, 55, 55 and 1 or 2 or 3 or something. Big mile from this colt. This is a colt we had a lot of high hopes for. He was an expensive colt. I think he was 60 some thousand, maybe US also. And very impressed with what he's done. He was okay. Funny how a win will turn a horse around, right? Had that okay win in Hanover, and then this mile of 55 just came out of nowhere. We qualified him because he needed to tighten up for the grassroots, and Johnny said, we'll see how he does. I don't know. Comes out with a mile of 55. Huge mile from this colt. And then we have Confederate Cruiser. Already taken a mark of 56. Won his qualifier the other day by 10 lengths. He'll be back in. He's going to the Buckeye, and I believe he'll do very well in the Buckeye. Just for your own information, the horse that I beat in the qualifier in 56 and 4 finished 5th, I think. He was 5th, if I'm not mistaken, the Mountain. He was in it anyway. The next generation for the Colts. So Confederate Cruiser, I think, has a bright future and a good summer ahead of him. And then Luck of the Dragon, although he didn't get to go where we wanted with him just yet, at the same time, that was a huge mile. I just assumed he'd win the other day after his training trip. Then I got to look at the program later on of the horse that beat me. He shows a quarter in 26 and 4 at Hawthorne, and winning, destroying the track record, not just in the fair the other day, I believe, but the one before it also. So, beat fair and square by a pretty good horse. But looks like we're going to have a good summer with him. Procrastinator. He's won all 3 qualifiers he was in. He wasn't great in his first race, but we're going to make some changes to try and rectify that and help this horse out. He looked very, very good again the other day qualifying. Then you look at another pacing colt, World for 2. A mile in 57 and 2, his first lifetime start. Last quarter in 26 and 3. You can't ask for much more from this guy at this point. Can't wait to see him get 4, 5, 6 starts underneath him. He looks good, and in fact, all of Mario's barn looks good right now. Procrastinator, World for 2. What about Better? Hey, Ava, stop. What about Better Be Sawyer? Better Be Sawyer looked fantastic. That's her name, isn't it? Better Be Sawyer.
No, you were talking about Mario's barn.
I was talking about World for 2. No, I told you they're not in any donation except for fillies and stuff. Better Be Sawyer looked great in her qualifier, and then again in her first lifetime start. I think she's picked a winner, picked very close in the grassroots on, was it Tuesday? Must be Tuesday or Monday. I don't know, one of the 2 days. Amor Diener made a break at the wire in his first start, but there's a horse that come 28 in a piece, a mile and 59 in his first lifetime start in a half-mile track. Not too shabby. Duke Dio, as I said earlier, I love this colt. This colt went from, I hope this guy's all right, I don't know if he's okay. Remember, this is a horse that we turned out for, or stopped for 3 weeks, swam for 3 weeks, brought him back. He looks great now. The only problem is, in the jurisdiction of New Jersey that he's in, kind of missed the stakes. I don't want to send him there to get beat up. I'm going to turn him out for 3 weeks and let him really fill it. I want to see how this horse comes back towards the latter part of the summer. He looked absolutely awesome the other day, and I think once he fills out and grows into his body physically, we got a good horse here. I could be wrong, but we're going to see. And then there's no really wondering about Massive Profit. As I said, Irv Miller's long text message simply read, "Nice colt!" exclamation mark. The other night, 27-4 on the end of it, an easy winner in 58. He looked good. Keep in mind, this is a horse that I picked way back in March or April. I think I was the only one that picked him.
I think before that.
My number 2 pick overall, behind a horse that got injured, was Massive Profit. He looked awesome. Prairie Fire has been turning heads since he got here. Everybody that ever goes to this horse loves him. He trained pretty good yesterday, but raced awesome last week. Renegade Gypsy. Now, these are gold colts I'm talking about. Massive Profit, gold colt. I can't really speak about any of the other ones ahead of us. Invictus, Grassroots, Confederate Cruiser, Buckeye, Luck of the Dragon, Buckeye, Procrastinator, likely Buckeye, but useful animals, very useful animals. All 3 of the horses stated, except for Dragon, I should say, have already taken marks, either being qualifiers or in races. Invictus was a winner already in a parimutuel event. Cruz has won 2 qualifiers, Procrastinator 3. And Luck of the Dragon was second in what I believe is probably a track record the other day and looked very, very good. World for Twos won a qualifier. Better Be Sawyer didn't, but was second in 57, come 27 or 28 in the mud. Amor Diener was, 4th the other night, so he didn't win. Duke Dios had 2 seconds in his qualifiers. Massive Profit was a winner in his first lifetime start. Prairie Fire was a winner in a qualifier. Renegade Gypsy won his first start, 2 minutes in a monsoon, and looked very, very good doing it. Resolute Bay, winner in a qualifier, second in his first lifetime start, an open maiden to a 3-year-old. Rose Above It's been second twice now, second, third. Should have won the other day, but he was second. He already trotted in 57. Slim Jimmy's got 3 qualifiers. 2 of them crushing victories over here. His last one by 24 lengths in 57-2. I would imagine he's the favorite. If they drew now or Monday or Tuesday, he's the favorite in the Sire Stakes next week for sure. 3 Point Blue Chip. I put him on this list. I'm telling you, I really, really like this horse. He's getting better. His attitude's getting better. His knees were a little concerning at the start of the season. You know, we trained him hard. The next day he was a little peggy. I'm waiting to see what he looks like on Monday, but Amy said he looked fine coming out of the stall today. And this is a horse that is quietly getting better. Again, no rush. We know what we bought. We bought a horse to be a Grand Circuit horse, and there's no point in me rushing to get him to the races if he's not. Especially when he looks like a good horse, he's bred like a good horse, and now he's starting to act like a good horse. I'm just going to give him all the time in the world. I'm giving him a wide berth, and I'm very, very happy with the way he trained. You can never train this horse in 25 by himself, and I trained him very fast yesterday by himself with a good last quarter. I really, really like the way this horse is coming along. But again, I guess I cheated a bit. He doesn't belong on this list any more than any of the other horses that haven't done anything yet, other than the fact that I'm telling you he's starting to turn my head. Unbeatable Kemp. There's a horse already qualified in 59, trotted in 58 the other night, but I'm telling you, I already know what happened to him the other night. Hopefully it doesn't repeat, but this is a horse I believe will... Oliver?
When will Unbeatable Kemp
Oh.
come back?
He'll race next week again, buddy. He'll race next week in the same race. So, at the Meadowlands.
New Jersey.
He's in New Jersey, and then he'll go to Kentucky. Kentucky's first part of August. If we're still down here, then maybe we'll take a drive down and see him in Kentucky. Sound good? So that was Unbeatable Kemp. Voyage of Ice and Fire did what he could the other night. You know, we talked all year about playing the hand you're dealt. He played the best hand he could. He was dealt a 2 and a 7. Deuce 7. 7-hole. Bunch of breakers around him, and he did everything he could to get everything he could. And I liked the horse. I thought he raced well. And what I liked about him most was he was so professional coming off the gate. I was going to go out of there with him, and he can get grabby sometimes leaving. And a little pacey once in a while. No. We went out of there, and I looked. I said, nah, no vacancy in there. It doesn't look good. And I drug him right back to last. And it didn't look good because the guy that went out of there with me was out almost to the 3/8 pole and ended up making a break. So, Voyage of Ice and Fire, I just want to draw 5 or inside with him in a favorable crew. Just give me a good shot with him. And I think that we'll turn the tables on them in Scioto next Friday. Arches Rainbow. There's a filly. James thought she trained like a killer the other day. Her allergies are a problem. So are Mischievous Roses. But Johnny and I have formulated a plan what we're going to do moving forward with these horses and see if it works. Now, Tuesday will be the culmination. Well, I guess that's not true. Tuesday will be the qualifier leading up to the race. But if they don't scope well and look good qualifying on Tuesday, then I told them just give them the rest of July off. Tuesday is really their elimination to the races this summer, at least in July. There's a big gap for a Grand Circuit in Ontario. We're going to use July in that gap to try to let these horses strengthen back up so we can race them in the latter parts of the summer and into the fall. So Arches Rainbow's a filly. Keep your eye on this filly. She trained like a monster the other day, James said. Going to qualify her. Both Mischievous Rose and her are heading to the grassroots. Blue Bayou Dio, they keep telling me how good she was. She raced good again the other night. You can tell she's still just learning how to race, and I can't wait to see what this filly has in store for us. Keep in mind, this is another filly, like Garden State Dio, that is dual eligible. She is eligible in Kentucky, and I won't hesitate to send her there if Johnny and James can prove to me that she's good enough to go. Bomb Hugger, maybe the top of the class right now. I think I'll show you guys on Tuesday and throughout the summer. We're not going to keep her. I'm going to race her in Saratoga. She's been there for 4 days. We're going to bring her back, send her from Northfield to Batavia, which is 2.5 hours. Going to send her down there and race her, and then at that point, we'll decide where she's going to go. Now, an interesting point. I wanted Mark to be there to make sure that he drove the filly if he could. I'm a little torn because I'm hearing in New York there's a number of good fillies like there is every year. John Boutenshane has one of them. I spoke to him on the phone the other day. She's in with Bomb Hugger. And I said, listen, I like John because now that John knows how our horses are hung up and what our horses are comfortable with, it's important to have a good rapport with the people we're sending the horses to. And it's not that we had bad luck with John. We won a couple of stake races with John and had good luck with John. But in this case, I wanted to make sure Bomb Hugger is in a place where one, she can get good care, and two, in a place where, how can I explain this? For those of you that I say this all the time, for those of you that are trainers out there, Bomb Hugger wears a snug set of hobbles. She wears tight hobbles. And a lot of trainers will be inclined to start letting them out. And I don't think she'd react well. So as I said, I sent her to Mark. I'm going to fly down and race her on Tuesday with Mark. I'm going to go to Batavia and race her in Batavia. After Batavia, I want to have her with somebody that knows this is how she's hung up, this is how her hobbles are. And if I can't go, which I can't probably throughout the whole summer, if I can't go, my brother Mark will be there. He can drive for John. Now, if John has the filly, she never has to race against that other filly again also, if she's as good as everybody says she is. So it's a good way for us to tuck her, I suppose, also. So I know I had said Mark and Ray Schnicker, and they might get her. John Boutenshane might get her also. Nobody's getting her for 2.5 or 3 weeks, so I'll have lots of time to figure it out. But first things first, let's get through Tuesday. She's racing at Saratoga, and I'm super pumped to go race her. Eyes at 10, I was happy. I saw Amy Jogger on the track there. I saw her. Happy with what I saw from this filly. I think I watched her jog a number of times over the last month, and being comfortable has been the issue. She's starting to touch her knees a little bit, touch one jack. I think we have her where she's better. The other day at the fair, pitch it, she had open-toe shoes on. She could not get a hold of the track. It was impossible. Sitting behind her, I can guarantee you that's what it was. Anytime she got up into top speed, pick at her knee, roll off stride. That won't happen this week at Northfield, I don't believe. So I'm very interested to see how she's going to race. Mischievous Rose, we talked about Mischievous Rose and how good she is. Her only issue, same as Archer's Rainbow, are allergies. We're working on it. We're going to see. We'll know Tuesday. Tuesday will be the telling sign. Regardless of how they qualify, they're both getting scoped after. And we will talk to the veterinarians about what they see in the scope and how we're going to combat that. Very important Tuesday. Of Tom. Here's what, a $14,000, $15,000 yearling. She's got 11 made, sure. We all thought she should have won the race the other night. I did. I was heartbroken at the head of the lane when I could feel what was about to take place. I'm thinking maybe second, maybe third. Oh my God, I think I'm fifth. From a filly that if you'd have asked me at the half, I would have told you she's going to the winner's circle. So yeah, I was brokenhearted, but at the same time, let's not forget what she's done. She's already taken a mark at 58 in her first lifetime start. She's already trotted in 58, already looked great. I think this filly, I know exactly what happened to her. 56-4 just sucked the life right out of her. But they're not always going to go a half and 56-4 in front of her. So I think Of Tom is a filly you're going to keep your eye on for the rest of the summer. 1-2, skip a few. Here's a filly I didn't know if we'd be talking about very much. Certainly didn't think I'd say she broke a track record in her first lifetime start, and that's exactly what she did. Now you might say, well, it was only 2.6. You have to factor in what you're racing on. This wasn't a fast track. This was Joe's Field somewhere with a track carved into it 20 years ago. You know, it's just, and not to make anything of it, but I love the fairs, but they're fair tracks. You're not going speed over those tracks. There's a big mile from that filly, and I'm excited to see what she's going to do this Wednesday. Purple Aura, second beat ahead, a nose and neck, 58. That's a huge mile for this filly. Not the, she's got her holes, she's got her issues that she has to work through, and we're working on it. But this is a very talented filly. And a filly that I told everybody, my number one horse, aside from Bomb Hugger and all the good horses that we know are good, here's a filly I want to see what she looks like this week. And her name is Sweet on Pete. This is a filly I think has been training great. We had that entrapment fixed. She trained like a monster on Friday. I can't wait to see this filly race on Wednesday. I really can't. I really think she has a lot to offer. This is a filly, if you're going to make me say, okay, I need you to pick one horse that's going to start in the Buckeye or the Grassroots or the Excelsior, any B level staking division, and end up at the top level by the end of the year, this is the one right here. Now, we talked about Arches Rainbow, Mischievous Rose. The only thing that'll keep them out of the top tier at some point in the year, I think, is allergies. But when I look at all the horses, Sweet on Pete's the one that I think will jump forward. And then Taiwan On, can't say any more about Taiwan On. This is a legit good filly. Nobody can say she isn't. Nobody should say she isn't. Her first lifetime start, 57-4 in the mud. Not many can say they did that. This is a very good filly that I think has a lot of goodness in her future. Tioga Sunshine, I wish I could send you the picture of the ulcer they took off that entrapment, that membrane. Man, I didn't know why they thought they had to operate rather than go in with that. You guys go back and look at the entrapment video from Dr. Latessa, and he says they just trim the membrane and it alleviates the pressure and it goes down. There was a lump, a big ulcer on her palate, and it is huge. It was big. For her to do what she's done and qualify the way she did with that massive ulcer on there, that's impressive. I have to believe it played a big role. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen with Tioga Sunshine. Looking at the timeline, I don't think she's going to make the first Grassroots, and I'm not going to rush her. Like Harry and I were talking about it, I could tell the trepidation in Harry's voice about trying to get there too quick. And I said, you know what, you're right. 5-6 days, you might get a training trip into her, really not going to prepare her properly, and then try and just drop her in a stakes race. Not fair. So she's going to miss the first stake, but make no mistake, she won't miss any more. She looks good, and with that lump, that ulcer, she has to be really, really good moving forward. So that is 28 horses right there. Factor in Miss Mildred, just a horrible injury. Will to Win Hanover, and now Spent. 3 very good horses that get hurt. That's 31. So right now, all those horses I just told you about are very good horses. We started with 46, 47. That's 31 right there. And a lot of them coming up behind them. I didn't talk about horses like Twin Bee Habanero, who's trained in 2-3 and is getting very, very close. Right? There's a number of horses in there I didn't talk about. Some of them that we turned out. Peanut Butter and Jelly. There's a horse that looked good. Starting to get on the line, running a little bit. Just needed some time, so we turned her out. Anyway, these are the things that get me over Friday. Friday I was a little down in the dumps, but when I look at what the Fridays ahead of us and the Saturdays ahead of us hold, I'm pretty excited. But for now, I'm focused on Monday, Tuesday, especially Tuesday because I want to race Bomb Hugger. So, I'm sharp as a tack. It was the weirdest thing. I was sick for an entire day. Hey, I lost some weight. It's a good thing. Ohio can put weight on you.
Last man standing right there.
Yeah, Ava's the only one that didn't. Well, Addie's a little unfair. She's done that before. But Oliver was sick for like 3-4 hours. Amy and I were sick for a day. Ava's the only one that didn't get sick.
I have a stronger immune system.
There you go.
I'll make you sick.
I'll make you sick. So, listen, we had I'm going to call it lackluster weekend, but certainly not a bad weekend. And when you look at everything that's in front of us, it's pretty hard not to be happy. Best news of all, Sunday, Tipsy and Dixie, a winner in the Sire Stakes, the Grassroots at Clinton. A great start to the stake season for Tipsy and Dixie. Picked up where she left off. So, with that, I will leave you also. Got lots of videos to do. I'm going to keep them coming for the next couple of hours and then load them all and try and get them all to you tonight. I hope you had a great weekend. It is a beautiful July 4th here in Ohio. Take care.